What's going on? And welcome into Pels and Whistles right here on the Believe Network. I'm Daniel Sallerson alongside Rel Myers, episode number 10. Glad you all can join us on this Monday and apologize for not having a second episode next week. I was not feeling too great on Thursday last week, and so was unable to post another podcast, which I was ready for because it was two back-to-back wins for the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And Rel, my body had other plans for me that day, and I apologize, but I'm glad we're back here and able to record a couple more episodes here this week.
Yeah, it's awesome to be back. I was very sad and lonely. So now
You and me
we're
both. I was quarantined in the room, just sitting there like, this is bad.
oh man. So yeah,
But
I'm glad to be recording again. I have so many notes, especially from that Memphis game. So I'm glad to, be able to talk about it and get it on record and then officially, put those games behind us and start moving forward to tonight.
yeah, so we are going to look back a little bit just because we weren't able to discuss those two wins. Very impressive wins without Zion Williamson against the Grizzlies and the Bulls. We'll touch a little bit about the Celtics game and then the big preview tonight as the Pelicans wrap up the 6-game homestand against the Golden State Warriors. And let's just go back. Well, one, if you all are watching on YouTube, Rel's hat is amazing. The Pelican hat that was given away against the Boston Celtics. I'm expecting one when I arrive in New Orleans next week. So, but yeah,
It's the giveaway of the year. It's the giveaway of the decade. Like this
I don't think there's
thing.
been a hotter giveaway than what was the last
Yeah.
big giveaway that you think was like the hot ticket item?
I don't even know. I can't remember the last time they gave something that people were this interested in, Like I got in the building for the Chalk Talk, and first person I saw that wasn't there for the game, like it was an employee, and he's like, "Do you want that hat?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want the hat. What in the world?" I've never had that happen before. And it happened all night long. And then there's people who are like, "Hey, can I have your turkey hat?" Well, first of all, it's not a turkey, so
Yeah,
you definitely can't have it now.
right.
But yeah, I don't remember any other one that's been this popular. So it's a hit.
You get more of those. You can start putting them on the black market, making some money. You might have to work some out there.
I bet
But
there's
yeah,
already some on eBay.
yeah. The shout out also when I was watching Joel Myers and Antonio Daniels were rocking that thing on TV.
Yes.
That
I
was
didn't
very
think Joel was going to
impressive.
do it. And AD was like, "No, he's going to do it." And we were all like, I don't know.
I
And he did
tried
it.
to I tried to get Todd. I tweeted at him he should do it, and he said it didn't happen. I'm like, we got
Come
Scrooge here already
on.
in November,
Come on.
not
Yeah,
rocking
come
the
on.
Pelicans hat. It's not going to mess up the hair. It'll be fine. But yeah, what a great giveaway. In a great week so far. The Pelicans are 3-2 on this 6-game homestand. I think you remember we talked about 4-2
Mhm.
was the goal, and they
Yeah.
can do that heading into tonight. So let's go back to how they got to the 3 wins, with 2 of them coming against the Grizzlies and the Bulls. And I watched that game, the Grizzlies game, since it was on TNT. Was able just to watch it on my regular TV here in Georgia.
Mhm.
Boy, that was an exciting game. There were so many things I liked about that game without Zion, Larry Nance stepping up, Jose Alvarado versus John Morant, Dyson Daniels. We can get into what stood out to you the most about the win. You can kind of pick and choose.
Uh Dyson with his he had early minutes, and in those minutes he
Mm-hmm.
had 9 rebounds, just 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, but he's all over the place. He's in everybody's face, and I think that game we persevered through a little bit of foul trouble. I don't remember exactly who was having issues, probably Herb, right? I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that seems to be the
Yeah,
norm
because
lately.
that might be something we have to talk about soon with the officiating
Yeah.
versus Herb Jones.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was in
So
foul trouble early on.
it seemed like CJ got his shot back, and then he got a
Mm-hmm.
technical, and that was really exciting because it was like, wait a minute, he's like sprinting across the court at this
I got
official, and it's like,
nervous. I knew that
get
CJ
it.
would be able to keep his composure, but like he went full sprint to that ref, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you got to slow
Yeah,
down."
I feel like it was the ref deserved it. Whoever that was, they deserved an earful because it's like, come on, man, that's bogus.
Yeah,
So no, I think this game I usually have like 5 bullet points, and then I kind of just go from there. But for this one, I had like 9 bullet points, and it's just like we were able to, I guess you could say, hold Ja Morant to 36 points. Right? He's averaging so much right now, but he had 36 points in 36 minutes. I even have a note on here. All it says is, "I hate Dylan Brooks." That's it. That's it.
care to
I can't
elaborate?
stand the guy. I can't stand him, and he's just like, if you're a Grizzlies fan, you probably think Dylan Brooks is locking BI up, but I'm sitting there probably like row 12 or something courtside, and like I have a good view of the mugging that's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
He was hacking all night long, and the very first foul they called on him, he got upset and he got a technical. And it's like, you know what, Dylan Brooks, go home. Don't come back to New Orleans. I'm
You're
not a
not welcome
fan.
here.
You know, we survived the return of Jaren Jackson Jr. He had 7.6 rebounds, 5 blocks in his return. He was only 3 or 14 from the field and 0 for 7 from beyond the arc. So that was fun
Yeah.
to watch him throw up a bunch of bricks.
Yeah,
So,
he was more impactful on the defensive side of the ball. Those 5 blocks came at a
mm-hmm,
really good time. But you're
mm-hmm.
right. I was like, keep shooting, buddy. Keep shooting from beyond the arc. I know he's capable of them, but when the
Yeah,
guys feel like, all right, I'm gonna keep shooting those when you're
go
shooting that
ahead.
bad, let it go. Let it fly, big guy.
Yeah. We were 47% from beyond the arc that night. We were 18 for 38, so that was awesome. And we got out rebounded and we lost the points in the paint battle, but the long range shots really saved us. And in the second quarter, we only had 1 turnover in the whole quarter. So I think that's impressive for the New Orleans turnovers.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a game that when you look at when you have Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson, you probably will get out rebounded. I mean, we
Hmm.
talk about these matchups, and one of the things we did want to talk about. I know we texted about this afterwards was Billy Hernan Gomez. If we want to get
Oh
into that
yeah.
a little bit on the tweets that he sends after each game, whether he plays or not,
Goodness
it's very
gracious.
interesting. But this was not a Billy Hernan Gomez game to play. I mean,
Yeah, it
with
wasn't
those
even a
two
JV
big
game.
guys wasn't even barely JV always
Yeah.
has trouble with Steven Adams, number one.
Yeah.
But this was a Larry Nance game. It was a perfect Larry Nance game because Larry can stretch the floor. But
Hmm.
Larry got into his slam dunk contest mode, and that one poster dunk, where I can't remember his last name.
Conchar.
He's
It was probably
no, it was the
Conchar.
other one. He shoved to the ground after he dunked on him,
Uh,
Almada or
Santi Aldama, I think is his
Aldama.
name. Yeah.
He dunked on him and then basically kind of like Aldama slid halfway across the court.
He went all the way into the Pelicans bench. It was nuts.
Yeah. I mean, that was Larry. That was a Larry Nance game. That was a Larry Nance that's why you have him, especially without Zion, because he can play the 5, he can play the 4. But in those
Mhm.
instances, you have that ability to stretch the floor, which takes one of those big men out because Steve
Yeah.
Adams does not want to sit outside the arc.
No
Jaren
way.
Jackson can, but you have to
Mhm.
bring one of those guys out in order to at least help you with the rebounding. So I thought there were so many good things that happened in that ball game. You mentioned Dyson Daniels. And look, I think when you're looking at him right now, you're not really relying on him to be that scorer.
Yeah.
He's more of that facilitating point guard that when he scores, it's bonus. But if he
Mhm.
gives you those assists, he gives you those steals, and he gets you those rebounds in
Mhm.
certain situations, that's what you want. Obviously, you don't want that to hinder your offense when you have him on the floor where you don't guard him, whereas one of those that the defender just lets him go. So
Mhm.
you do want to hold them accountable. But I think at this stage in Dyson Daniels' rookie career, that's exactly what you need out of Dyson Daniels when he's still learning and getting acclimated to the NBA.
Yeah, I'm loving to see him not only getting minutes, but coming in as like maybe one of the first subs. To see him at around the 6 minute mark in the first quarter has been pretty awesome. So hopefully that's a good sign that's happened the last couple of games. I hope it's a good sign that that'll continue because we've been dying for some more Dyson, some more defense. I particularly loved Trey Murphy had a nice block on Ja. I really
Hmm.
loved the whole Ja versus Jose thing. I thought it was hilarious.
Yep.
And Jose had, scored on Ja, and he looks over at Ja's dad sitting courtside, and he does the too small thing.
Yeah.
And then the very next play, Ja gets an and one on Jose, and he does the too small thing, and I'm like, oh, this is
That's a bold
chaos, but I love it.
strategy, Jose. I like the smallest guy in the court's the one saying too
I love
small,
it.
Jose. But
And I
you
feel
got
like at first I said Jose started, but Josh started last year. He had
yeah.
like an Instagram post with a picture of him doing it next to Jose. So it's like, okay. Jose remembered. He kept the receipts.
Yeah, and then I think someone's gonna remember if you remember TNT captured it. John Moran saying no one can guard me when after he made
Mm-hmm.
one of those shots too,
Mm-hmm.
and
I think
then
he only made 3 more baskets
he
after that for the
struggled
rest of the
after
game.
that too. So receipts are real, and I thought it was a huge win for the Pelicans, a huge momentum,
For
especially
sure.
without Zion. And of course now we get Zion back most likely tonight, and then you might
Mm-hmm.
not get Trey Murphy back. I don't know what it is with foot
It
injuries.
hurts.
I hate foot injuries. They scare
Yeah.
me. But I know these are day-to-day injuries, so I'm not overly concerned. But
Mm-hmm.
just when you think maybe we can have a healthy team heading into a game, it's either
Every
one
time.
player or the other. And I still want to see what this team looks like fully healthy. Because
Yeah.
you still
Well,
technically haven't had that. And I think you're starting to
right.
see this team get better and better. look, CJ just not making shots, that wasn't going to last forever. I think that was
Mhm.
just basically his, you know, struggle in the last few games. Zion's going to come back. Those three, and I think I saw a video of it with Antonio Daniels at the Chalk Talk, and he was spot
Mhm.
on. When you have three guys that are capable of scoring 30 or more points, that's not easy to work in with each other
Right.
on a given
Yeah.
night when they're on the court at the same time. That's a luxury to have, but it's also not something that's going to just pop up overnight and go, we got this locked down. We're going to get Zion the ball here, CJ here. You got to let them all
Mhm.
into a rhythm. And I feel like sometimes you're going to have one guy coming out of the gate slow, one guy's going to come out of the gate fast, and then it's kind of how you balance each other out, which I think Brandon stepped up a lot when CJ was struggling and
Mhm.
no Zion. I mean, there were some shots in that Memphis game contested, needing a bucket, BI pulling up, whether it's from the free throw line or even the top
Mhm.
of the arc, and just knocking it down with ease. It's a
Yeah.
confident Brandon Ingram we're seeing right now.
Yeah. That was an exciting game, and I'm always talking to a lot of Grizzlies fans on Twitter and everything. So I really look forward to our games against them. I feel like it's a good matchup for us too, and they've never beat us with Bi and Zion. Not that we've had Bi and Zion a lot of times
Right.
once we roll into Memphis or once they
Yeah.
get here, you know. But and I was trying to tell one of my friends, I was like, no, this is the stat. Like Ja has never beat Zion. And he's like, well, when did they ever play? In college? I was like, no, they played 4 times in the NBA. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, I'm telling you, it really happened. And we won every single one of them. Um, so yeah, I'd like to keep that streak going. But that Chicago game, that was I feel like we did everything right. I feel like we looked
Yeah.
like the Pelicans of October 19th. Like that was an awesome game. And we had 17 threes. I think we shot 51.5%. And we went 21 of 24 from the stripe for almost 88%. So that was a huge deal because we know we have issues making those free throws. But yeah, that was a really good win.
Yeah, Willie Green said it. They need to shoot more threes, and so he knows that everyone's saying, "Why aren't they shooting more threes?" They need to, and they recognize that,
Yeah.
and I think they will. And it gave you a little bit of confidence knowing that they're starting to shoot them and they're starting to knock them down. That just has to keep going because you are one of the bottom teams as far as attempts on the
Hmm.
season, and again the math when you look at this NBA, the modern NBA, it's if you're not knocking down threes, you're not going to be a successful team. You got to at least make some.
Right.
Not saying that you have to shoot 45% from three each game, but you have to be at least getting the attempts up where you're putting yourself in the position to win each night based on
Hmm.
your 3-point shooting. And not only is I'm loving watching Trey shoot from beyond the arc, but
Hmm.
his confidence going inside now, like him going to dunk,
Love
he
it.
likes he loved like, I think he got a little taste of it in those couple of
Yeah.
games, but he is so confident now going to the rim, and I think that's a hard thing to do when you're a shooter, when you're known to be a
Yeah.
shooter, when he knows he's capable of doing it, but it's like when you're going to the NBA, it's like, "All right, am I gonna be that guy that just camps out behind 3 shoots?" Or when
Hmm.
they start falling for a pump fake or when they start just trying to close me out, I just blow right by them
Yeah.
and able to knock down, no one closed him out on a couple of those dunks against Memphis. That I think
Hmm.
this Trey Murphy can be just as dangerous if he's able to get inside more and keep knocking down the 3-point shots.
Absolutely. I think a lot of guys will go up. They might pump fake and try to take somebody off the dribble. And if someone's going to meet them at the rim, they might try to change their shot. But he's not even doing that. He's like, I'm just going to go up for it and you're not going to block it. So
Yeah.
you're going to be on a poster. I'm going to put you on a t shirt.
Or I'm going to the foul line. It's one of the
Yeah.
two. Like you're going to contest it, you might block it, but I'll go to the foul line, or I'm going to dunk it home. And there are some ways where the defense parted like the Red Sea, and we're like, I'm not touching that. I'm letting Trey go right to the rim. So
Yeah.
that Bulls game showed you what this team is capable of doing. That was without Zion once again. And I feel like, at the beginning of the season, we talk about depth. This is why
Hmm.
you have depth on this team that you can play a back to back. What does it say about a team when you don't have your best player on the floor and you're able to win a back to back at home? And I don't care what team it is. That's hard for any
Hmm.
team to accomplish. And for this team to do it shows already the growth and what they've been able to carry over from last year into this year. There's been some growing pains this year. Yes.
Hmm.
9-7 is nothing to sneeze at, though. And
Yeah.
so I feel like with this team getting those 2 wins without Zion, I think we're good for them. Just knowing what they're capable of doing, I think you're finally starting to see them pick up the momentum, pick up the chemistry, and show what they're capable of doing in the West.
Yeah. I'd say we were up by 26 at one point
Hmm.
against the Bulls. And there was a point towards the end of the third quarter where we were doing like a full court press, like old school, like high school, college style.
Right.
And I thought that was great. It's like don't let up on these guys. You know, they're not suckers. You know, yeah, we beat them before a week or so prior, but don't go out there treating them like, you know, it's just going to be the same as last time, or it's going to be a walk in the park or something. So, yeah, they really showed up to play. And then, you know, moving on to the next game with Boston, it's like, what can you do with that? What can you do with 14 first half 3-pointers? You know, there, and I think I had asked, you know, with or without Zion for the Boston game, what are your expectations for tonight? And I got a lot of responses, and everyone thought we were going to win that game. And I was like, that's interesting. It's almost like,
I like the
you know,
confidence. Good to have
yeah,
confidence.
I'm not mad at that at all, you know. But it was kind of like, have you guys been paying attention to what Boston's been doing, you know?
Right.
They were on an 8-game streak at the time coming into New Orleans. Obviously, they left on a 9-game streak. Um, but they like to shoot threes, and they were making them. And for us to let Derek White get 26 points or however many he had was absolutely gross. And he's on my list of former Spurs players that are annoying because apparently that's a trend. I just thought
Yeah.
about all these guys I don't like in the league, and almost all of them are former Spurs players. But yeah, there just wasn't much we could do with that. And they didn't have Marcus Smart. So we didn't have the Smart versus Jose, who's going to take the most charges
Yeah.
competition. But I I don't know. I felt like after the game, I wasn't as disappointed. It's just kind of, you know, they were the Eastern Conference champs. They're 13-3 or 14-3. It's like we fought hard and we lost by what, 9 or something like that, 8.
Yeah. You
So
lost to the best team in the NBA.
whatever.
You
Yeah,
lost to the
move
best team in
on.
the NBA, the hottest team in the NBA, and they, like you said, hit a ton of threes.
A
And we
ton.
said when you hit a ton of threes, you're giving yourself a chance to win every single night,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what Boston does. I mean, they did
Yep.
that. I was watching the Atlanta game right before that, before they came to New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, it was the same thing. I mean, they just have so many options from beyond the arc and guys that play
Crazy.
hard, and they're playing for a new head coach, and everything's clicking for them. And you're going to have those type of losses. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
have more losses. Again, we always say breaking news, they're going to lose another game. It's just a question of who they lose to, how they lose to, and whether you're okay with the outcome.
Yeah.
But like this week is a pretty interesting week. You have Golden State tonight
Mm-hmm.
with they're coming off a back to back. They finally got their first road win of the year, which I think
Yeah.
was good for the Pelicans. The fact that that monkey's off their back as far as not having to worry about that. The Warriors wise, beating
Mm-hmm.
a Rockets team that's not very good, and they're on the back to back. And you're
Mm-hmm.
also going to see them. Haven't seen the injury report yet as we tape this, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure if anyone's going to sit out due to load management. But you're
Right.
going to see them at a lot healthier than you did the last time you saw them, which could be a good test for the Pelicans here to wrap up the homestand.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how this matchup goes, especially with how the rotations have been going with Jose coming in and playing, you know, starting the second quarter. And he might sit out the whole third and he might start the fourth quarter and may potentially, you know, play the whole thing. But I feel like 12 consecutive minutes without Jose is a lifetime. Like
It
there were
is.
times on Friday night when I was like, okay, there's maybe 3 minutes left in the third quarter, but like, I don't know if we can wait for him to come in. Like we need the energy and we need it right now because 3 minutes is a lifetime in the NBA, you know? So, um, I'm curious to see how that continues to trend with the rotation. He might change it up a little bit more too, especially now that Dyson's, you know, getting minutes and being really productive in those minutes too. Um, I think I'm hoping that Golden State sticks with the whole Clay's not playing back to back things. He had 10 3-pointers last night. He had 41 points. Um, Steph is most likely going to be playing. I think we're definitely going to see a different team than we saw last time. Um, and it was funny because you said takes a little bit of pressure, you know, takes monkey off our back, but it was the same thing with the Lakers when we were like, oh, they got their first win right before we played them. It takes some
Yeah.
pressure off, and then we still lost.
Right.
So, but at the same time, if we lose to Golden State, yeah, they've been a shell of their you know previous selves, but they're still the defending champs, and they still have Steph and Draymond, and Wiggins has been good. So it's I don't really know what to expect going into tonight, but um I am gonna be. This is a sidebar, really quickly. I'm gonna be season ticket holder of the game tonight. So if you're there,
Hey.
I'm gonna be waving the flag. I told my wife, and she's
Nice.
like, "Those flags are heavy," and I was like, "Whatever, it's fine."
Yeah.
I was like,
You
"I
don't think
haven't
I am
been to
strong
the
enough?
I haven't been to the doctor yet for my 3-month checkup, and they haven't cleared me for waving flags in the air." So she was a little bit nervous, and I was like, "It's fine. It's worth it. Sacrifice my body for the Pelicans.
I'll have a
It'll be all
paramedic
good."
sitting right behind me if I need it.
Exactly.
We can't have you
Exactly.
leaving the game before the game starts due to an injury.
I'll go to the medical tent. It'll be
Yeah.
fine.
We'll get Aaron Nelson and them just like, hey, can you just chill up there during the flag waving
Yeah.
just for our season ticket holder of the game? You don't mind,
Yeah.
don't you? You'll be
Yeah. Come
fine.
hook me
That'll
up.
be awesome though. Be on the lookout for Rel then tonight. But this is a big game from the sense that you play the Warriors 3 times this year, maybe 4. I didn't look at the schedule, but either way, you're taking care of your 2 home games against them, and this is an opportunity early in the year to get 2 wins against them. Because when you're going and fighting for seeding at the end, and this is a team that you've already knocked, you have a couple wins earlier in the year, you just
Mhm.
never know how these wins can trickle to the end of the season for the Pelicans. So important to go 4-2, like we said. That was the goal of this 6-game homestand, winning record, which you can
Mhm.
do. You have San Antonio on Wednesday, who's always going to be a tough challenge, but a rebuilding team.
Mhm.
And then Friday against the Grizzlies without John Morant, without Desmond Bane in Memphis, still not going to be an easy game. Anytime
Right.
these two teams play, same with the Spurs, division games are not just, look at the Rockets games. Like none of them were easy. There's nothing easy about those
Yeah.
Rockets wins for the Pelicans. This is a big week. This could be a chance that you could not solidify yourself, but kind of take that next step. We talk about the steps with this team, and this could be a huge week for them as far as taking those next steps into gaining a better record, moving yourself up the Western Conference, and doing it against 2 playoff teams in Golden State and Memphis, and then one against a team like the Spurs, who, when you play them 4 times this year, you should at least
Mhm.
be 3-1 against them. Like the good teams, you're going to have to
For
beat the San
sure.
Antonio Spurs. So I'm looking forward to see how the Pels step up. And Trey Murphy potentially not playing could be huge as far as you missed that 3-point shooting. So who's going to step up as far as knocking out threes? You're going to need BI,
Yeah.
CJ, Larry
Yeah,
potentially to
Larry's
knock
gonna
down a
have to
couple,
he's gonna have to hit something.
take a break from dunking, knock down a couple corner threes,
Do
which is
both.
possible. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see. But I think this is a huge test for the Pelicans this week. And again, the opportunity to go 4-2 in the homestand would be a major success for this team with all the things that they've been going through so far.
Yeah. I think they've played it pretty even so far, even when they're missing guys. I think they're 3-2 without Zion, and they're 2-2 without BI, 2-2 without Herb. So getting Zion back, I was a little bit nervous. I actually thought that Friday, I thought that, yeah, we might win on Friday. And then what was going to happen was Zion was going to come back and play. And for whatever reason, we were going to lose to the Warriors. The reason could be because they're the Warriors. And then
Mhm.
everyone was going to blame Zion. I could just like see that whole thing
Oh
happening and
yeah.
Twitter exploding and blaming him for loss. But um, I think, let's see, I've been wanting to talk about some guys at the end of the bench. We talked about Billy a little bit with, with the cryptic tweets or the cryptic replies, or even if you look at his likes, what he's been
Mhm.
liking. And it's like, I don't know if people are searching for these things or if they just happen to come across it and then they start to dig deeper. Um, I'm not so concerned about him liking tweets that say free Billy or how come Billy doesn't play, or I think someone put up a stat and it was 3 players that were in that stat, and Billy was in there and he put a bunch of laughing emojis and everyone's panicking and they're like, "Oh no, Billy's upset. He doesn't want to be here." And it's like, "Okay, like I get it. We've grown an attachment to a lot of these guys and Billy's been like, teammate of the year for consecutive years for these guys. He's an awesome locker room guy." But why are we worried about that?
You
You know?
shouldn't. No, and I think that's the thing is it's been like that for the last couple of years he's been here, where there are stretches
Mhm.
where he doesn't play at all, and then
Yeah.
he comes in and plays. It's just the nature
It's
of the
nothing
matchup
new.
situation with Billy. It's nothing new, and he continues to be a good teammate. We were texting last year; it was fully energized batteries that he was
Yes.
tweeting after every game. It would be 3 batteries that he would tweet, and it would basically show that I'm I'm
Yeah.
good to
Charged
go.
up.
I'm
Yeah.
fully rested. Yeah, I'm charged up. And so this year it's a little different. So we're seeing the trend here, but that's just his way of saying that. Look, he won an MVP this year in
Yeah.
the summer with Spain. He's very talented, and
Mhm.
he's when he's showed up, how professional he is when he's come in and put up double doubles in certain games when you needed him. He's just a matchup based center. When
Yeah.
you have Larry and when you have Jonas, and look at Jackson. Jackson's not seeing the floor either.
Mhm.
When you have guys like Jonas and Larry, especially around Zion, those are your three big guys that you're going to use in your rotation. And
Yeah.
so, unless some injury happens or there's a matchup where you need another bigger body in there just to give rest to Jonas and give a couple minutes where Larry or Zion might not be the best matchup for them,
Mhm.
then Billy plays. I
Yeah.
think if you look at the Memphis game, Jonas already had a tough time. Like, that's a tough matchup for anyone, yet alone Billy. Vooch is another
Yeah.
one that you could have maybe had Billy in there for a little bit. But again, when you have Larry, because at least with Larry, if you need to go cover Vooch, Vooch
Mhm.
spreads the floor a little bit. Vooch kind of
Yeah.
camps out sometimes. Man, the arc, Larry can go do that. And
Mhm.
so it's just going to take some different matchups, and also if need be, because Billy's offense, nothing against him, but a lot of his offense is putbacks, it's layups. Like with Larry, Larry can do a little bit more. Larry can create more on his own, and
Mhm.
he's a little more athletic. And so I think that's why you're not seeing Billy. He's just not needed at this time, and as a ball player, why wouldn't you be frustrated when you think you are? You should be
Yeah.
confident in yourself that why am I not playing, or I should be playing or getting a couple minutes. That's just
Mhm.
the NBA. There's 17 guys on the roster. I
Yeah.
bet you 11 through 15 on that bench thinks they can play and they should be
Yeah.
playing. But it's gonna be one of those things. It's not like I don't think Billy's gonna be like trade me or demand something,
Right.
but
No
because
trade
locker room
request coming.
because the locker room is so important to them. And maybe if there's a time where they say, all right, go we're gonna trade you somewhere that's gonna give you some playing time, you can be an impending free agent, go show what you can do, then that's what they maybe do and say, look, we appreciate everything, but I think he's just so valuable inside
Mhm.
this locker room and I don't think his tweets could be just, yeah, I'm ready to go, I want to play, but it's nothing
Yeah.
where, and again, we're not behind the scenes, but based on
Yeah.
everything I've been around him, when he wasn't playing last year, he was the same guy on and off the court. Really
Mhm.
nice, saying hello to everyone, joking around with the players. So I don't see anything differently unless, again, I'm not around there anymore, but
Yeah.
I just feel like he's the same guy he was the last couple of years here.
Yeah. Did you happen to see the Squadron game the other day and Kyra played his
I
first
saw
game
a little
back?
bit of
Yeah.
Kyra got the Jets on.
The Jets are on. The Jets are on. They're turned up to level 10. They're operating at 100%. It was nuts. He looked faster than he had previously been. And I have kind of been on the I'm not sure where Kyra fits in train. Like we don't have minutes for pretty much anyone. So I have no idea how he's going to get minutes. I don't know if it's going to be like a scenario where we end up trading him. I don't know what's going to go on with that. Um, I I'm known to be um, a Frank Jackson fan from his days when he was here. And in the
Mhm.
group chat one time, I told him, I said, anything that Kyrie can do, Frank can do better. And they thought that I was absolutely insane.
Wow.
And I could be insane. It's whatever. But
I might have
it,
called you insane too at the
it,
time.
it definitely got the conversation going for sure. It was hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. And I know he's got, this long time connection with Teaspoon. I know he's got a great relationship with the guys. It was really awesome to see that episode of the squad when he surprised them and everyone was all excited and everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know where his minutes come from. And everyone's like, oh, well, obviously he can take some of Devontae's minutes. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys said that Dyson was going to take Devontae's minutes. So which one is it? Nobody knows. So,
That's gonna be tough for Willie, and it's something that
mm-hmm.
he'll have to discuss. But at the end of the day, another great problem to have when you're fully healthy, because you
Yeah.
have the depth and there's different things that Kyra can do that Devontae can do.
Yeah.
Devontae does struggle sometimes from three, but Devontae is pretty capable of shooting a three if you need it.
Yeah.
But
He
Kyra,
stepped it up.
the quickness in the defense could be something you need. And Kyra's offense was starting to improve right before he got hurt. That was what
He
was
was.
so you were devastated about the injury just for him getting hurt, but he was playing so much better right before that, and his confidence was there
Mm-hmm.
right before it. And so it's a good problem to have a good depth at guard. Again, you never know when things can happen. You could have let's say like a Devontae or a Jose has to miss a couple games. Like when
Mm-hmm.
you have Kyra come back, you have a lottery pick there waiting
Yeah.
to get some minutes back. So yeah, maybe you'll have some DMP CDs for Kyra for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you won't. I think the good thing about this is with an ACL injury and where the team's at right now with the guards fully healthy is you can ease him in and take as much time as you need to make sure that he is ready to go. Let him
Yeah.
play some games in Birmingham. Let him practice with the team. Let him go 5-on-5. Let him get that speed back. Let him get that,
Mhm.
the quickness back, and then see where he's at. We're like, all right, well, maybe we can try a few minutes. Or if it comes to garbage time, let him play in those minutes, whether we're
Right.
up by 30 or down by 30, just to see how he does and get him in a game. That's the luxury about if you have a team that has a lot of talent and depth at one position, then
Mhm.
you get to toy with things. And I think that's a good problem for the Pelicans to have. It's not a fun thing for Willie Green to have to deal with and David Griffin and Trajan Langdon to figure out. But that
Right.
gives you more options when it comes to the trade deadline. If it's something that is out there where someone wants to take that chance on Kyra, they see what they like.
Mhm.
Pelicans can pick up another veteran piece. They can. I don't think a first round pick will be up there for Kyra, but like there's some options out there with some of these guys down at the end of the bench. Come February, they'll have some
Mhm.
decisions to make.
Yeah, I don't envy the person in charge of making those decisions. But looking out
That's why
west,
they
there's
get
some
paid the big
really
bucks.
yeah. And I'm at home podcasting.
Yeah,
um looking out west, there's some strange things going on in California. The Kings are 9-1 in their last 10 games,
light the
and they have
beam.
been lighting the
It's the
beam. The
power
beam.
of the beam.
We need a beam. I believe in the beam. I don't. They're they're looking good. It's very, very weird, and they seem to be having fun with each other. So, hey, keep it going. But
I think
until you play the
Mike Brown's
Pelicans.
been. I think Mike Brown's been a really good coach for them. And that's no offense to our former friend in Alvin Gentry who took over last
Hmm.
year. He was an interim head coach, but I think
Yeah.
they got a guy that I guess they respond to. And they had talent
Hmm.
on that team. You
Yeah.
have De'Aaron Fox. You got Kevin Herter in the offseason. You have
Hmm.
People forget that you have Demonis Sabonis on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't understand the Tyrese Halliburton trade, and I don't think I ever will
It's weird.
from
Yeah.
that standpoint because Tyrese is looking really good
Hmm.
in Indiana. That if they had that piece, they also wouldn't have had Sabonis in there. So I feel
Yeah,
like they
that's true.
valued that over it. But man, the Halliburton and Fox in that backcourt would have
Yeah.
been pretty ridiculous. But they're playing with a lot of confidence. And I mean, again, there's a long season, but you're still seeing these teams like the Portlands. The Jazz are not
Hmm.
going anywhere right now. But
Yeah.
you are starting to see some of the teams that maybe got off to slower starts. The Denvers, the Dallases, they're starting to creep back up in those standings. They're starting to come to life a little bit.
That
So
game
I
was
think,
good last night with Denver and
yeah,
Dallas. That game was
hmm
nuts.
that the West is going to be fun and nerve
Hmm.
wracking and frustrating at the same time. But that's where these games against conference games came into play last year, as far as when you're looking at tiebreakers potentially with
Hmm.
the Spurs, when the Clippers, when you're looking at play-in, because if everyone has the same record, there's a three-way tie, then they go to
Yeah.
conference record right after that. And so
Hmm.
when you look at this week, that's another reason why you have three Western Conference teams that they technically could count double. You just never know when you can need
For
them.
sure.
If Memphis is, not where they want to be, and the Pelicans and the Grizzlies are battling for seeding, head-to-head
Hmm.
matchup and conference matchup, they're going to be important. And if you can get one on the road in Memphis, I mean, that's what's so crazy about the West, where every night
Yeah.
you're looking at it like, who cares if it's Sacramento, who's playing really well, or another team at the bottom of the West? You're gonna need to come up and play and get ready every night, and also be knowing that a win against these teams could help you in the long run.
Yeah. Speaking of the bottom of the standings, the Lakers are on a 3-game streak with no LeBron in any of those games. I find it to be repulsive. It's disgusting.
Yeah,
I need them. So now I think Houston is at the absolute bottom of the standings.
yeah,
Um, and I definitely don't need Houston to end up with Wemby. I don't need him in our division unless he's on our team, right? I need the Lakers
right,
to start losing some more games. It's starting to get a little weird over there. But I don't know if you've seen their schedule for December. It's nasty. Like they're in
yeah.
Los Angeles maybe 3 times for the entire month. So it's going to be a pretty rough road trip for
Well,
them,
that's what they
hopefully.
get
But
for having November basically just living in Crypto.com Arena and having a 5-day off stretch where the
it's
NBA is just like, let's get you off to a good
who
start. Oh,
decided?
you went 4-10 to start off? Oh, well, sorry, your December schedule is about to
Yeah.
get a little crazy.
Right. They just got Dennis Schroeder back and Thomas Bryant. So they were getting their minutes in last night and everything. And our guy
It
Tony
doesn't seem
Ruffles.
Tony
He had
Ruffles.
like 31 points or something like that. But yeah, they won by 30. And who they play? They played the Spurs. I think they played the Spurs.
Yeah.
So the Spurs are very unreliable when you need them to win a game, and then when you go to play them, they might end up beating you. It's kind of annoying. So
The Spurs right now look like they can beat you by 30 or lose by 30. There's really no in between. They're
what
like
is
showing up
going on?
in crushing teams, and then they are not showing up on certain nights and losing by a ton. But
They're
as far as the
unserious.
Lakers, it's not a good sign, I think, for the Lakers when they're like, all right, we got Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant coming back. We're
Hmm.
in better shape right now. What does it say when you have Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and LeBron James? You're still saying, guys, wait till we get Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant back. We're gonna be unstoppable. And
Yeah.
so I'm still waiting for this
Yeah.
thing the wheels to fall off,
Yeah,
and
because they also
that
got to
would
work
be
those guys into things too. I don't know if last time was their first game back or their second. Um, I just know for sure that LeBron has not played the last few games.
you should
Um,
always just assume too that one of those guys is going to be out between Anthony and LeBron. They
mhm.
might just take turns. Like, all right, I sat out a few games. Anthony, you come up with a, a fingernail injury that will keep you out for 2 weeks, and then I'll come back, LeBron, and I'll take a couple games off. So, I think I don't
Yeah,
know how much you're going to see them playing all at the same time.
that's true. I think Westbrook might have had a injury scare last night. I saw
Hmm.
a tweet from Woj or somebody when I woke up. It said something about a scan on his thumb or something like that. So, yeah, they've got all sorts of things going on. But yeah, I need more losses. So I'm looking forward to December on that Lakers schedule because it looks grueling to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. So this has been fun. I'm glad we got to catch up. We went a little longer today, but it's because we missed one episode, so we had to make
Yeah,
up for that. And hopefully I am 100% for the rest of the way. I appreciate
yeah,
Rel's patience through it all. Just needing to get through Thursday was just I text her. I'm like, no way this is happening. No way this is happening. And I slept most of the day too. So
oh
and Friday
man,
just wasn't ready to go, but now I am. And I think we're
it's
gonna
all
try to
good.
have one on Friday. The
Hmm.
Thanksgiving holidays here too. And so we will make sure to get that second episode. Just a question of when. But again, it's the Warriors tonight, Spurs, then Grizzlies, and then I'll be there next week, and maybe we'll have a local, kind of podcast we can do one of these
Ooh.
days. Meet up, or we'll just say hello at the game, and everyone will be waving at Rel. How popular she is there. I just need to be by Rel. Just be like, hey, everyone.
Things are
The
getting
hype is real
wild,
with Rel.
man.
Just
Things are
y'all
getting
know.
wild. I went out after the game on Friday night and people were coming up
Wait,
and they're like, "Hey, are you real?" It's
yeah.
great.
I mean, again, now that you added the hat too, I mean, it's just gonna be even more. I mean, you with the hat on, just walk around like
Yeah.
that, and it's gonna be like the paparazzi. You're gonna have to tell them to get away.
Oh, geez.
Just
I'm
trying to have
burning
a
up in
nice
this
meal with
hat
my
too.
with my wife. Well, we have gone 40 minutes, and you've just been chilling in the hat. I'm impressed that it
Yeah.
stayed on and it's looked great the whole
Yeah.
time, and I'm ready to grab one whenever I get to the arena next Monday. But
Definitely.
Rel, this was fun. Glad we're starting out the week. Big one tonight. Again, you can watch Valley Sports. It's also on NBA TV too if you're out of the market. And of course,
Hmm.
99.5 WRNO with Todd Graffanini. And we will check back in later in the week. I'll talk to you later, Rel.
All right. See ya.
All right. You've been listening to Pels and Whistles right here on the Believe Network.